Hey guys, it's Dylan, and I'm back for another story time. I was kind of trying to think of one to do because I have a bunch, but I feel like none of them could really like last a full video. I was thinking like I could do one with like a few stories, but that's a lot of work, to be honest. That's like I would rather have a video dedicated to one. So if I'm gonna make a video that's dedicated to a story time, and if it's only like 5 minutes, I'm sorry, but I don't really have like long stories, but I mean these are funny and they're interesting, so I'm going to tell this story. Okay, so this is about the time that I almost got arrested. Literally almost got arrested. I feel like that's kind of like a common name. I feel like that's like a common name for story times, but I feel like this is a pretty good name for this story. So basically, it was the first day of spring, I remember that, and it was me and my two friends. I'm gonna name my two friends because I don't want to say their names. So there was a boy, we'll call him Joe. I just want something short so I don't have to like, you know. So we'll call him Joe, and then there was a girl, we'll call her Wanda. I don't know why. So I was with Joe and Wanda. I'm not gonna be able to say this name without laughing. So I was with Joe and I was with Wanda. We were together, all three of us, the squad. So we were walking. I don't really know why we were walking. We were walking around my neighborhood because we were bored, I guess. And we used to be like we used to be like bad kids. Like I don't know, we just liked doing bad shit, like egging people's houses and ding dong ditch. And that's stupid, I guess, but that's what we were into. That was our fetish. I don't remember how old I was, but this was a while ago. So I guess it doesn't really it's not really weird that we would have been into that kind of stuff because we were young. So like egging houses, ding dong ditch, like that's fun to children, I guess. Maybe. Is that still a thing? But anyway, we were walking around. My friend picked up a you know when concrete is like in like the hard like rocks. Wanda, this bitch, she picked one of those up, and we were like all laughing like around like it was a joke. And then because we were like, we're gonna throw a snowball at somebody's house because there was snow on the ground. I suggest if you're ever gonna throw something at somebody's house, you throw a snowball because snow just breaks and nothing would happen. I'm not suggesting you go out and do that, but I'm saying if you're ever gonna throw something at somebody's house, use snow. Use snow, because it's not very likely that the snow will break their window or anything like that. So my friend, because nobody else would do it, we were all like, oh, I'm not gonna throw the snow, like which house should we do? Like we're gonna have to run far, because we were like the other side of our neighborhood. Wanda, she picks up the concrete rock, and then she goes underhand. Remind you, she threw this rock underhand very lightly, and her intention wasn't to hit the window or anything. She just threw it, and then she was like, run, because like nobody else would do it. So she was like, I'm just gonna do it, and then she said, run. That rock, it didn't just hit the house. It didn't just hit the grass. It didn't just roll into a fucking puddle of dirt. That shit busted the window. That shit, it literally went and just fucking broke the window. We were all so shook because that was not the intention at fucking all. I would tell you straight up if my friend was like, let's break this fucking window. That was not the intention. So, like the kids that we were, we fucking ran, because where else are we gonna go? Are we gonna fucking stay there? Are we gonna go to the door and ring the doorbell, be like, hey, so we just broke your window? No, we run. So we were running like behind another set of houses, their townhouses, and Joe was in the front running, I was in the middle, and Wanda, that bitch, she was behind me, she was in the back. So we were running, and fucking Wanda, typical Wanda, Wanda slips in the fucking dirt, and she falls. She falls in the mud. It wasn't dirt, it was mud because it was snowing. She slipped in the mud and she fell. That bitch fell in the mud. So she's laying in the mud. Wanda is fucking down. And the guy who we broke the window could see her from like his door. Like when he opened, he could see her on the ground from like that, from his like, from where he's standing. If he turned, he could see her. So he sees Wanda and he fucking starts running because he's like, I'm gonna catch these kids. I turn around and I see him running, and Wanda's running too. And I'm like, okay, he's right there. I was like, you have to run. Like, and the guy is like seeing me like say like run. I turn around, Joe is stopped because he's like shook that this is happening. Like he's seeing the guy running too, and I'm like, okay, we have to stop. Like the guy caught us. I mean, we could have gotten away, but we would have ran, and then it would have been very dangerous because I feel like we would have never really been able to like walk around the neighborhood like safely or anything like that, because if they ever saw us again, we would have been in so much fucking trouble. So I was like, let's just stop. This was my idea. I was like, let's just talk to him because running is gonna just make this worse. So we all stop, and the guy starts yelling at us because we just broke his fucking window. Now let me just tell you what my instinct, I guess that's the word. Let me just tell you what the first thing I thought to do was. And I swear on my life, I promise you, I was not really like breaking down or anything. I started to fake cry. And I think the reason I did that was because this was a period of my life where I loved the show Pretty Little Liars. And if I'm being honest, that show probably taught me nothing. And I started like sobbing, and I was like, I never do anything bad. Like, this is the first thing I've ever done. Then like we like just continued to talk to him, and he's like, okay, we're going back to my house and I'm calling the police. And we were all like, okay. Like, we broke his window. Reasonable. So we're all like walking back, and as soon as he turns around, both of my friends whip their heads and look at me. And I looked at them, and I just smirked. Because I was like, bitch, I ain't crying. So I have two witnesses, Joe and Wanda. I will subpoena them to the fucking court if nobody believes me. I was not crying. I feel like every time I tell this story, people think that I was like really crying, and I'm just trying to be like, I was fake crying. Like, bitch, I would tell you. I was like, what, 13 years old? I would just fucking tell you if I was really, really crying. Like, it's not embarrassing. And it was fake crying, and that's like what makes this like such a mess. Like, why would I do that? I would never do that now, like ever. So anyway, we get back to the house. They call the police, and the police are like, okay, we're literally in town that was like 30-45 minutes away. They're like, we'll be there like as soon as we can. And we're all like, okay, so now we have to all fucking stand here, and it's gonna be awkward as fuck because the police are so far away. So we're all just standing there, and he's obviously just lecturing us. And then his mother, she comes outside. She is this short bitch who, she starts going off. Like, she is mad. She's fucking, I don't know. So she starts yelling at us, and she's like freaking out and stuff. The guy at one point, I'm gonna just say this whole thing was a mess. Like, the whole, like, them talking to us. They were being very, 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 very rude. I mean, they had a right to be rude, but I'm trying to, like, they were, like, threatening us. The one guy said he was gonna bring us to the lake and, like, drown us or some shit like that. Like, that, I don't know. We were, like, 13 years old. I feel like that's very, I don't know, maybe you get what I mean? At another point, the woman, she said to us, what are we gonna do now? Like, it's gonna be freezing. It's the middle of the winter, and it was the first day of spring, remind you that. Their windows were double paned, and the rock only broke the one pane of the glass. We didn't find that out until then, like when she was talking to us. So we're saying, like, first of all, it's the first day of spring. Like, that was, I don't know, that was just extra of her. I understand we broke her window, and that shouldn't have happened, but they were just saying some stupid shit, and I'm just gonna call them out on it. So then the guy took our addresses down, wrote them on a piece of paper, our phone numbers, he took everything. And as he's asking us for them, we're telling him, and he's like, stop pulling numbers out your ass, like, tell me your real address. We were not lying, like, we were literally giving him the right address, and we're like, okay, if you don't believe us, don't fucking believe us, don't write it down. But we live there, like, we were not lying, and I don't know if he still has them. I know he still lives there, and it's, like, literally in my neighborhood, so that's a little troubling. And then they kept saying, like, oh, you guys are going to Home Depot tonight, and you're fixing this, like, tonight is, you're doing it, like, you're fixing my fucking window. When the cops come, we'll figure everything out. So then they want to start saying, like, oh, you did this purposely, like, why would you run and shit? And we're, like, trying to tell them it was an accident, and that obviously doesn't make anything better, but we didn't do it purposely. And then the fucking mother, the mom, she comes, she's like, I was a softball player, and I know that you threw that rock with the intention to, we were like, bitch, you were a softball player, like, congratulations, but that has no correlation. Like, I don't give a shit. This bitch wanted to act like she was on the All-Star League. No, it was an accident. Like, it literally was an accident. And I don't know, whatever. That was just annoying too. And then at another point, the guy literally got this close to my face, and was saying, like, he was like arguing with me, and then he's like, oh, you gonna cry, little baby? And I was just sitting there like this. I was very disgusting. And then he was smoking a cigarette, and I just like wanted to be extra. And I don't have any uncles who died from lung cancer, so excuse me for making that up, but I was like, my uncle actually died from smoking, and like I can't breathe the smoke in. Hilarious, right? I did say that, and then he just proceeded to try me. That was really what was happening. So then, when the cops got there, the only thing I got out of fake crying was the woman told the cop to go easy on me because I was crying. My parents were the first people to show up. My other friend's parents like didn't get there yet, and the cop let me leave with my parents, and Joe and Wanda had to sit in the cop car. And the cop did say it was cold, and he was like, if you guys want to go in the car, like, the heat is on. So they got in the car, and I just left with my parents. Wanda was the only person who ended up really getting in trouble because she told them that it was her, and she was like, it was an accident, they had no intention to do this. So Wanda, got, like, she was supposed to go to court, and she had, like, a date and everything. What ended up happening was the case never got, like they never brought it to court. It kept getting, like, rescheduled and shit. And then they called her, and they were like, okay, it's been rescheduled for too long, and, like, it's just not gonna go anywhere. So they were like, we're dropping it. My friend absolutely got no punishment or anything. We had to pay nothing for the window, literally nothing. My friend did not ever give them a dime for that fucking window. And that was a really long time ago, but it's like nothing now. Like, nothing ever happened. I mean, we could have all gotten in very serious trouble. I feel like us being young kind of like helped that, but my friend literally could have gotten arrested. She was being charged with like criminal mischief or some shit like that. It was just a whole like mess. And so that's the end of the story. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you laughed. It was very scary when it happened because it was like very serious. The people were very pissed off, as you can tell from the story, and the cop was not very pissed off. I feel like he thought it was kind of like a joke and was like, why are you calling me? Like, you could have just handled this yourselves. Because really all we would have done is paid them to fix the window, but they wanted to make it into something more because it was an accident, and it wasn't like we did that shit purposely. And yeah, we ran, but we were fucking like 13 years old. I'm not saying that justifies anything, but I feel like them calling the cops really backfired on them because nothing ended up happening. If they were to just talk to us and to talk to our parents and just gotten the money to pay them, everything would have been fine. Their window would have been fixed, but they ended up probably having to pay out of pocket to fix their window. So I hope you enjoyed, and if you liked it, subscribe and like this video, and I will see you whenever I post next time. Bye.